Alright, showtime. Hey guys, Matty Extreme Auto Caravan and Camping. Another big off-grid setup to run your air conditioner, microwave, induction cooker, toaster, kettle, hairdryer, air fryer. What else is there these days? So much stuff. Take it camping with you. No generators required. This system allows you to do it anywhere, anytime, on the side of the road, free camping, station stays. Go to a caravan park, book into an unpowered site. This setup will give you power. Easy, very simple. So let's get into all the finer details. So this is on an Avan Ovation motorhome with the Fiat setup. And this has a very good platform to get a big off-grid setup on. Now we've managed to squeeze 1,000 watts of solar on this, guys. Have a look at the photos. We've done 4 150 watt solar panels at the rear, the ATG shingles. They're only a new panel. They're proving to be quite good. I'm getting good results from them. Great for shading. Not that this matters on this one. There's not much shade at all at the rear. So 4 150s are all pumped into one of the Victron 50 amp charge controllers. And we've managed to squeeze another 4 100 watt Exotronic. They're quite a narrow panel over the hump and sort of on an angle towards, facing rearwards. 1,000 watts of solar for these guys on this setup. So there are 2 Victron 50 amp smart solar controllers here. Victron multiplus inverter charger, 3012 volt, 120 amp mains charger. So an inverter charger, all inbuilt one unit. So this will fast charge when plugged into mains power at 120 amps. Right? So if these guys plug into a station stay, a caravan park, this will pump 120 in to the lithium battery bank, which we'll get into. PowerPool Scouts, these are his current model 300s. They've actually tested over at 314 amp hours each. So there's 628 amp hours here. A lot of energy, well over 7.5 kilowatt hours. Now, for you guys that have Avans and that know the battery system in these, they're under the floor. And the AC Delco wet batteries that were in here, it was just them in there. Well, that's 200 amp hours of lead acid batteries. I've got over 600 of lithium in the same footprint. That's why I keep using Paul's batteries. And obviously our installations, the way we do things, we like to compress things and push them into places that is tough. And this was tough. We've done a few Avans now, so that's it there. And I'll give you zoom ups in a minute, guys, so you can see how we've done it. So Victron Serbo and Touch 50. So the touchscreen, the little 5-inch touchscreen, and the Serbo. So this is on the VRM portal, so I'm able to monitor this system remotely, and the customer has all the control he needs up on the touchscreen. The relocation of this area, and I'll put some before and after shots up. It's quite tricky because the original Electroblock, which is this little blue thing down here, this little Electroblock basically is the battery charger, and it's also the mains 12 volt distribution for the whole van. So it's got a bunch of relays on board that is controlled by a separate switch up here. So it's got your water tanks, everything that runs through it. And because of that, it must remain in situ. So it was over here. I couldn't do anything and fit it, my inverter, here in this location, and vent it the way I could without the relocation of that. So that's what we've done. The Electroblock was over here. It's been extended and put down here. So it's quite a tedious job to do, but once it's done and it's perfect. It's, no charge sources go through it. So no solar, no vehicle anymore, right? And no mains. So there's, you can really push it into a really tight spot. It doesn't matter because there's going to be no heat generated on it at all. Doesn't matter. Redarc 50 amp DC to DC charger with a side Anderson plug. So old mate can plug a portable solar panel into this. If he wants to add to the 1,000 watts of solar on his roof, he can. Or if he parks in the shade for extended stays, he has that ability to do that. And that's all, you're not running cords through windows, and the Anderson plug's outside, labelled, plug it in, easy for him to get to. So Redarc 50 amp DC charger, pumping in 50 amps from the engine, 600 odd watts going into the engine. The solar will combine with that. So both charge sources will work simultaneously. So, he'll get the 1,000 watts of solar come in, he'll get 600 odd watts from the DC charger, you know, add that up. That's the number that's going to be able to come into this system away from the grid, not plugged in the main. So the replenishment power on the system, call it 1.5 kilowatt hours, is huge. These are big numbers. So if you've got 7.5 kilowatt hours of energy and you are charging at that 1.5, you can work it out. It's not going to take long to fill up if they're flat, guys. Like, these guys are going to struggle to push these down. There we have it. Everything is all nice and neat, as with all of our jobs. All of the MIDI fuses down here are labelled. Easy to see, easy to understand, easy to get to. Just lift up the floor. You know, big fuses, big thick 95mm cable, big heavy duty lugs, hydraulically crimped. You know, we've done our standard heat test like we do, which I'm going to show you guys too, which is something that's not touched base on enough, I don't think, is temperatures around the areas. You know, you get people's comments all the time on other people's builds. What about your venting? What about your temperatures? I'm going to show you in the real world the temperatures I'm dealing with. As long as you vent the area and you understand convection, you know, drawing air from down low and then hot air rises and forcing it out through the top, you will get natural convection. So natural airflow will flow through your system. And let's face it, the time that this is going to heat up, the inverter charger, is generally under two conditions. One, you're plugged in the mains, right? It's going to go fast charge. This thing goes flat out. You hear the fan kick in. Once the batteries are full, it'll back off and you won't even know it's there. It disappears. Number two, if you're running this with an air conditioner for long periods and another device, you know, maybe over 1,000 watts, you will hear it kick in, right? But what are we doing in those situations, guys? We're running an air conditioner. Colder air in here. So colder air will fall. When it falls to the floor, your vents that are down low will pick that up naturally, bring it into the area and force it out the top, especially if there's fan induction happening, which, you know, the multis do. They've got their own inbuilt fan. That'll kick in and kick out as it pleases. So just remember that, guys. Temperature matters when it's a very tight space, as this is, which is why we've done a huge vent on the front of the multi. We've taken the hat off of the multi, which is the lid. When you mount the multi up, there's a lid, right? Well, our multi's flat mounted, so nothing is going to fall into it. So that's on the side. So we take the hat off. It's still all mesh there. And then we put a big vent right here. So what that means is cold air is forced in through the bottom of it, the back of it, and it'll come out through the top of it, or the side of it here. Straight out. You know, we've had this running for a couple of hours and I haven't got over 30 degrees in here. You had this lid down for a bit. It's perfect. Absolutely spot on. Very, very happy, guys. All right, so three-way fridge. Three-way fridge, we've put this before the inverter in layman's terms, just to make you understand it. So when this is on the grid, the three-way automatic fridge only picks up the grid, right? When they unplug the grid, it'll go to gas. If they turn their inverter on, it'll still stay on gas. It won't auto-sense the inverter. There are two GPIOs up in this cupboard. One of them is before the inverter. The other one is running the microwave. If these guys run out of gas, they've just got to simply unplug that fridge from this top cupboard and move it to the next GPIO, power outlet. Their fridge has the inverter. It's running. The fridge is running from the inverter. About 300 watts. It's a backup only. All right, you can't run it indefinitely because it pulls 300 watts an hour and it doesn't cycle. It's a three-way fridge. It's on the whole time. But it's a backup. You know, it probably lasts a few days. So if these guys run out of gas, they have the ability to run this three-way fridge from the inverter. If they plug it in to an outlet, that runs from the inverter. This has a Swift hot water service. The element on a Swift hot water service is about 1,000 watts. Because these guys have the 1,000 watts of solar on the roof and they've got 7.5 kilowatt hours of storage, I gave them the option to have the Swift hot water service potentially run from the inverter if they wish. So there's a switch down at the back here that they're able to switch on and have the hot water service pull power from the inverter. Once again, if they run out of gas. I mean, I'm cranky if I don't have a hot shower or if I don't have hot water to splash on my face in the morning. It's nice. Yeah, if you run out of gas at 3 in the morning, you'll know because your fridge will just keep trying to ignite and you'll be like, oh, bugger. And then you'll have a moment, you'll go, hang on, Matt put that ability in for me to bypass it. Let's do that. Fridge goes into the GPIO, happy days, that's on. But what about your hot water? It holds its heat, but you might want piping hot water. Well, just turn your Swift on. Put your inverter on, hit your bypass switch, you now got hot water from your batteries. It is a bypass. It's backup only once again, but having that ability will just save you so much headache. I mean, I love hot water. Let's get stuck in to some discharges. I can see the air conditioner on this one. It's the Houghton 3200, Houghton Belair, I think it is. They're not bad in air conditioning, right, AC mode, but reverse cycle, when you run them in heat, they are horrible. Now, this has a diesel heater, so these guys will never do that. It will pull well over 1,000 watts an hour, which is stupid. It's not sustainable to be able to run that type of energy, running that. That's why we've got diesel heaters and gas heaters. But cooling, usually when you run an air conditioner, the sun's up and it's a stinking hot day, and that's when this will come into its own. These aren't too bad. They're not a soft start, all right? They're not an inverter style. They're not a soft start. They are a roof clunker, and you'll hear it clunk in and clunk out. I'll do it for you guys, and you'll hear it turn on. You'll know it's running. But it only pulls between 750 and 800 watts running. I've done a few of these now. They're actually not too bad. They're a cheaper air conditioner, but they work air conditioning okay. And obviously, this is a small space. It's not a huge motorhome. So the temperature in here should drop quite dramatically, and they should be able to run this for very long periods during the day, all day if they wish. As long as the sun's up and that 1,000 watts of solar is coming in, call it between 800 and 1,000 because they are flat. That's the best you're going to do. It's going to keep up with this air conditioner, no dramas. You've got to remember, when the air conditioner kicks out and cycles down low, your energy usage over the hour is fine. If your van is stinking hot at 11 o'clock in the morning and you turn your air conditioner on, you are going to use up so much energy just to bring that van down in temperature. So what you do is you open up your windows before you put the air conditioner on, get that hot air out, all right? Because your air conditioner is only going to, suck that hot air up and try and push it out and keep doing it. It takes a lot of energy to cool that air down. If you can remove that air and replace it with air that hasn't heated up, then put your air conditioner on and you watch your energy usage. Perfect. That thing will cycle on and off. It's not going to go flat out. You're going to kill your batteries. You're going to have more free camp ability. There we go, guys. Hope you enjoy that rundown. I'm going to zoom up on all of this stuff so you can see what we're dealing with. And I'll give you some pointers of what we do and don't do for this setup, because this is a motorhome. It's different than a caravan, of course. There we go. Enjoy, guys. So we'll start at the business end of stuff where the batteries are. So there's your PowerPole Scouts. So these are the 300, and they've tested 314 amp hours each. So with the Scout 300s. Both of them there. So yeah, continual discharge of 250 amps per battery. So this has more than enough ability, just a single battery, to run the inverter. And down here, there's the LMI fuses. 4 of them. Okay, high current fuses taking care of all the solar controllers, DC charger and main 12 volt. And then we've got the large inverter, the busman fuse here, and there's the shunt. All right, so that's all down there, nice and neatly tucked away, but still accessible. So there's the floor, batteries down in there. So yeah, I had the 2 100 amp hour AC Delco batteries, and they were in the same position. Well, there's a lot more energy in here now, as you can see. But it is the perfect fit for these motorhomes. Absolute perfect. Realistically, I can actually fit another one down there. I could fit a third one down there and then put all those fuses up here. Yeah, it would be a very tight squeeze, but it's all doable, you can see. That's it down there. Let's bring your torch up here so we can see the relocation. Now, this Electroblock, right, was over there. It was against the wall, and obviously easy to get to because there was nothing else in here. Well, now that obviously we've put, DC chargers and solar controllers in, we have to make things work. So that's the relocation. We're going to see it a bit better. So we basically remove all of the cabling and build a board and get it in place over here. And that is all secured down. That ain't going anywhere. It is positioned in a place that's still accessible, because you're still going to be able to get to the 12 volt fuses, because this remains functional as it always does. But take note, no mains. See, so this does not mains charge anymore, and no solar. The solar doesn't go through this. And the vehicle underneath this is you've got your vehicle input. That's been disabled because now, zoom around, Redarc 50. All right, so Redarc 50 amp DC charger for vehicle charging. There's one of the 50s for the solar array. So 400 watts is going through the 30 down there. and then the 600 watts is going through the 50. So they're well within their parameters, and we vent the back of it, as you can see, venting. There's the big vents around here. This actually draws air in from the floor, and we've kept, because there was a big hole there, that's still kept here. That's not required because it gets quite dusty in here. But the main air being pulled in and out of this system is through this vent here. So got to do that. That's the area down there. So what we'll do is we'll do some discharges. We'll get this air conditioner going. So we'll crank that on. The inverter's on already. We'll put this puppy on. We'll go 25 heat, 26 heat. Now listen to this. I want you to hear it. Ready? Whoa. You hear that? I know I did. That's the roof clunker. Brr. They all do that. And when they do it, you know she's running. Anyway, that load, that's on heat, so it'll go up to about 1,000 watts running on heat. Like I said, guys, these guys have a diesel heater, so you won't do this. We only show you this because of you know, this is it's a good indication of what the system can and can't do, and basically just putting a big load on the battery to watch what happens. Another overcast day in Adelaide. Yeah, like a lot of trees, and there's no sun, it's completely overcast. It's actually about to rain. We've got another 10 odd mils coming today in Adelaide. So beginning of May, I think we're like 4th or 5th of May today. Inverter only. All right, so we're running now. You want more settings, just click menu and you can get into it. You want to go deep into the menu and find out what things are doing. It's easy to do. See what the battery. Once I've got the starter battery voltage, take note, because this is a motorhome. These guys are able to monitor their starter battery voltage. Being a lithium battery, you know, things will change, so they can actually see what their starter battery is doing. All right, and yeah, the factory panel here still runs. It controls the Electroblock, so your aux, your lights, and your pump. There's your pump. There's your lights. And the aux up there's accessory sockets or whatever, but you still hear it clicking. All right, so your mains 12 volt distribution here, the LT400, it's still controlled. Nothing changes at 12 volt, just like, you know, like BM Pro or a projector system or you know, whatever. The 12 volt system remains as it always has, except now it just pulls from a 600 amp hour lithium battery bank. I think you're going to run out of power anytime soon. Now, I know here you guys love me putting these systems under big tests, so we'll do it again. We've got the Houghton running on heat. It's pulling 1,000 watts, you can see it there. Okay, and I'll show you again. She's running on 26, hot air coming out of it. All right, so this would be a 1,000 watt load. There it is, getting no solar. And we'll put the microwave on. All from batteries, guys, once again. So air conditioner and microwave simultaneously. Let's watch the numbers. Haven't even hit an overload. How good is that? 'Cause it's under the 2400 watt mark. So in other words, this air conditioner running pretty much flat out and the microwave simultaneously is working perfectly. How cool is that? This model has the raising up of the bed. Really cool for you know, you get your lounge at the rear and you get your bed as well. They're a very good setup. That's another thing too, when you've got an inverter wired up your factory system, things like your Dyson, if you've got one, great thing, you pick them up second hand for bugger all. These will run, they'll always charge. So basically anything always plugged into a GPO continues to run from the inverter when you turn it on. Very cool to be able to do that. Even for you guys with Starlink, you know, that's another one too. You know, having Starlink, you know, until you do the hack and get it 12 volt by the different power supplies, straight out the box, their mains powered 240. So when you get a system like this, your outside outlet, your inside, all of your GPOs run from the inverter. So that would be that, and running without a drama all the time. They pull about 50 to 60 watts, so it's about about the equivalent of running a compressor fridge, about a 50 to 60 litre compressor fridge, from what we've worked out. And when you're doing that sort of stuff, and you've got a system like this, you could leave it on indefinitely and you wouldn't have to worry about power. All right, let's fire up this DC charger and I'll show you what we're going to get out of it. Now the batteries are quite full, but being 13.2 volts, it'll fly up pretty quick. So we're getting bugger all solar, as you can see, guys. So we're going to get that Redarc 50 going. We'll start her up, do it all in real time. Beautiful. She's going to beep at me on the Fiat. Now the Redarc DC charger is down there, which is already kicked in. And we'll see that 50 odd amps come in, and there it is straight away. Try and get that to focus for you guys. So Redarc 50 amp DC charger putting in 600 and something odd watts. Getting bugger all from solar, guys. So that there is enough energy to keep up with that air conditioner during the day. You remember, solar will come in on top of that. This will combine with that DC charger's input. It would be great if the DC charger could talk to the screen and show you like a little picture here and have it there as a separate thing. You can add extra shunts and do that to it later on, but it doesn't matter because this here is basically your shunt. So whatever goes in and out of your battery is monitored on this little picture here, and you can see it. Energy is moving into the battery, and there's the number. Try and get it to focus again. There we go. Beautiful DC charging, guys. Happy days. So when we do our rundowns and our tests, we always put them under a full load for a couple of hours to basically, we drain some energy out of the batteries and then we refill them back up. The reason we do it is during this period we're actually testing all of the terminations to make sure not everything's nice and tight. All of our crimped lugs are there and done to spec, and we basically check for temperature on each lug. So we do it in two ways. We do it with a field test and we use our little temperature gun, and that'll expose any sort of weaknesses in your terminations. Not that we do it, because we've got a bit of a triple stage that we do. We'll initially go through it, and we go over it again, and then I'll come through it and go over it again. So there's two people going through it to make sure all the connections are hunky-dory, because we are talking high current here and we want to make sure things are pristine, which is what we're doing now. It's got the multi going flat out here, and down in here we check for temperature on these. Now these are all cool as day, so everything we check, we make sure that there's no hot spots. And I might go grab the temperature gun again and I'll show you guys so you can actually see, because you can't feel through the camera, but you can see what I'm feeling here. All right, so we'll focus on the area down there, specifically the big the shunt there and the big busman fuse, because that's the inverter charger that's going now. So we're pulling some big current, and these aren't the best to read. It's only a cheapie, but it does the job for us, because we're only interested in temperature when you're finding it on spots. So there we go. You can see the yellowing down there. So the yellowing is the warmth on the cable. Now that's 95 square cable, yet look at the temperature. It's only sitting on, I think 29. So look at the top left, guys. So where the black dot is, where that black little target thing is, I'll try and hold it where it's sensing the hot spots. And see that red? That's the tracker for the heat. If I bring it over to this area, it's going to find the warmest location. But take note of where it is. Right, it's on the exit of the fuse. Your fuse is your weakest link. Right, that's why you'll always see warmth on either side of your fuses. And there's your shunt. Take note of the color of the shunt there. See the yellowing where the black dot is now? That's your shunt. All right, it's a 500 amp shunt. What have we got? 30 degrees there. It's nothing. There's a couple of hours of running, guys. This is beautiful. Back to what it looks like down there. There we go. So what we were looking at then was here and here. And I'll bring it back onto it again, you'll see it. And there's the two cables going down, see? It's, it can look crazy when you see the color range, but I implore you to just look at the temperatures on the top left there. 24. Like even we'll bring it over to the terminal. It's cooler, you can see it. Look at that. What do we got? 23, 22, 21. Still tracking that as the hottest spot down there. You know, 28 degrees, 30 maximum in some spots. So even down here on your termination, all the fit cable, you can see that it's just not there. So the hottest spot tracking now, 23 degrees. See the red tracking, 23. Even as we move over to this side here, 23, same deal. See the red tracker? That's all well within specs. For a couple of hours of running under 150 amp load, that's pretty cool. All right, so I've just flipped this over to charger. So now we're pushing current in. I think we'd be putting in about 100. Yeah, so we're putting in just over 100 amps. So we've been running for a couple of hours on inverter. Flipped her over now, and I'll show you temperatures down in here. So I'll lift her up. I'll put the seatbelt on to hold it in place. And the temperatures in here, because of all the venting we've done, you know, it's everywhere. Here we go. I'll bring it up so we can see. So a couple of hours of running. 23, 30, it's found 31. It's found 30 degrees. Beautiful. Well within specs. Happy days. And that's how we do it, so we can still see the big cables going down. What are they sitting on? 24, 26, 24. See the black dot I'm tracking? 22. Happy days there, guys. Beautiful.